Now is the ideal time to do what the Communist Party understood their job was back in 1948, to fight for an anti-monopoly government, an anti-war government. Now is the ideal time to be doing that. However, most socialists, most leftists in America are not doing that. Instead, they are doing the opposite. They are fighting for the big monopolies against the anti-monopoly forces. They are fighting for the FBI against the forces challenging the FBI. They're fighting for the Ukrainian Nazis against the forces that want to cut off the funds to them. They are fighting for the lockdowns and the vaccine mandates and big pharma against the people that are opposing them. They are fighting for the low-wage police state against the working people who don't want to be degrown. They are fighting for tech censorship and for Silicon Valley against the American people who don't want to be silenced. And this is a problem. And the lead up to the vitally important demonstration coming up on February 19th makes this so abundantly clear. I want to thank the great Tyler McConnell for discovering this. Tyler McConnell discovered how you can tell what side the Silicon Valley fascists are on. This is Tyler McConnell's this is his screenshot. Tyler McConnell decided to Google the Rage Against the War Machine demonstration. Try to type into Google, see what comes up. This is what comes up. There's a protest happening a week from tomorrow in Washington, D.C. And if you type in to Google what's happening, this is what you will find. The first article that comes up is from Black Agenda Report. Why the Rage Against the War Machine rally is anti-war so white. Silicon Valley rigged the search engines to make sure that articles written by fake socialists, identity politics, woke jokers came up. This is not accidental. We know that they rig the algorithms. They rig the search engine results. Black Agenda Report has decided that everyone who goes to this rally is a big fat racist. Oh my God, they're racist. And it just so happens that the Silicon Valley fascists, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, agree with Black Agenda Report. And they have rigged the search engine to promote their woke condemnation of this rally. The screenshot's right there. We know what side the Silicon Valley tech monopolists are on. We know what side they're on in Ukraine. We know what side they're on in Taiwan and in China. We know what side they're on the Korean Peninsula. We know what side they're on the lockdowns. We know what side they're on when it comes to the FBI versus the people of America and their freedom. We know what side they're on when it comes to the Uhuru movement versus the FBI. And now we know what side they're on. We know what side they're on when it comes to this important rally. Now, maybe Black Agenda Report repudiates this. Maybe they don't accept, they don't appreciate it, but they should look themselves in the mirror. When the search engine results are being rigged to promote their denunciation of an anti-war protest, it should be obvious that this anti-war protest is a progressive, revolutionary anti-war protest, so much so that they're rigging the algorithms against it. But folks, the denunciations of this anti-war demonstration have gotten to be so unbelievably stupid. This is the best one I could find. It's by Melinda Butterfield. Melinda Butterfield gave her opinion of the upcoming protests. This is what Melinda Butterfield wrote, right? There's a whole long screed about Lyndon LaRouche and all kinds of stuff that's not really that important. But here's the most important sentence in this article, this brilliant article written by Melinda. This is what Melinda writes about the Rage Against the War Machine rally. Quote, "Its true purpose is to strengthen the grip of the openly white supremacist movement in the United States based on anti-trans panic, hatred of migrants and refugees, censorship of Black and LGBT history, and robbing women of their right to abortion." That's what she wrote. The true purpose of this rally, Chris Hedges isn't there because he wants to stop the war. He's there because he wants to strengthen the grip of an openly fascist white supremacist movement. You know, Garland Nixon, he's African American, but I guess he's lying to everybody when he says he's there because he wants to stop the war, because actually, even though he's African American, he's going there because he wants to strengthen the grip of an openly fascist white supremacist movement. Cynthia McKinney, U.S. Congresswoman, who Melinda endorsed in 2008 and voted for when he was a member of the Workers' World Party, or she was a member of the Workers' World Party. But I guess Cynthia McKinney, even though Cynthia McKinney's political views, even though she's a Black revolutionary, Black nationalist, no. She is going there because she wants to strengthen the grip of openly fascist white supremacists. This is the stupidest thing I have ever read. Melinda says that everyone who goes to this rally is a Ku Klux Klan member. Everyone. Maybe you don't like me. That's fine. You don't have to like me. Maybe you don't like the Libertarian Party. No, but the whole point of the rally, the whole purpose of this rally, according to Melinda, is to, quote, strengthen the grip of the openly fascist white supremacist movement. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You have to have a hole in your head to think that that's the case. You really believe that Jill Stein is sitting there and saying, well, I'm going to lie and say I'm against the war, but actually I want to strengthen the openly fascist and white supremacist movement. These people are so despicable and idiotic that this is what they believe, right? The whole purpose of the rally, its true purpose is to strengthen the grip of the openly fascist white supremacist movement. This is the dumbest thing I have ever read in my life. Anyone who can believe this has to have a hole in their head. And this kind of crap is being promoted by the algorithms because they are terrified of this rally happening. And so they have rigged the algorithms to promote this kind of crap, right? That everybody who speaks at this rally is actually a Ku Klux Klansman. That's what Melinda wrote. Look, the words are right there on the screen. This is what Melinda wrote. This is what a socialist group in the United States, one of the splits from the Workers' World Party, this is their position, their official position on their website, is that everyone who attends this rally is secretly trying to advance the agenda of an openly, not even secretly, an openly white supremacist and fascist movement. Anyone who believes that is so unbelievably stupid. I don't even know what to say. And this is a self-exposure. These groups are controlled by the government, folks. These people are government agents. Maybe not knowingly. That's what they are. They're government agents. Danny Haiphong, Ben Norton, Brian Becker, PSL. They're whether knowingly or not, they are doing the dirty work of the deep state. These people have been running the anti-war protest movement for decades, and it has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and weaker and weaker and weaker. But at the same time, the public has become more anti-war. Anti-war opinion among the American people has been rising. Never before have the American people been more against the Pentagon, against these wars, than they are now. And in fact, among the military, rank and file soldiers are saying they're more anti-war than even the general public is. But yet the anti-war protest movement has been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You know why that is? Because Sarah Flounders and Brian Becker and Melinda Butterfield and Danny Haiphong and Brian Becker have been doing everything they can to keep average Americans from wanting to join the anti-war movement. And they have been attaching the anti-war movement to woke fascism. You know, if I had a flower shop, my goal was to sell flowers, I would put a big sign on the front of it that said, "Flowers for sale." And if somebody walked in to my flower shop and said they wanted to buy some flowers, I would say, "How many do you like?" And that's how I would stay in business as a flower shop owner. People walked in, "I want to buy the flowers." I'd say, "Great, how many do you like?" And I would sell them the flowers. That's not how Brian Becker and Sarah Flounders and Joe Lombardo and Jeff Mackler have been running the anti-war movement. They have been running it this way. They put a big sign out front, "Flowers." And someone walks in and says, "I want to buy flowers." And they say, "What's your position on the transgender question? Oh, what's your position on gun control? Oh, what's your position on? If you ran a flower shop that way, you'd go out of business in a week. You would go out of business in a week if you ran a flower shop that way. The only way a flower shop that operated that way, that every time somebody walked in to try and buy flowers, they gave them an interrogation to make sure, "I don't know if we can sell to you. I don't know if you're morally pure. I don't know if you passed our woke test." Anybody who ran a flower shop that way would go out of business in a week unless they were getting a government subsidy. Unless it was arranged that there were no other flower shops that could compete with them and that they were the only store in town. Unless it was arranged that anybody else who tried to open a flower shop conveniently got canceled on social media. It just happened that way. Unless it was arranged that anybody who joined their organizations and tried to actually get them to do what they planned to do and be effective got driven out. Folks, I don't know if these people know that they are agents, but they are. They are agents. And their job is to keep average Americans from joining the anti-war movement and to prevent the emergence of a real anti-monopoly coalition. That is what their job is. And there are powerful forces that have gotten them the gig and are doing everything they can, including rigging the algorithms to help them keep this gig. All the proof I needed to show you is right there. right? Do I need to pull up Tyler's screenshot? I'll pull it up one more time, right? Again, you think this is fake? You think this is a fake screenshot? This is how much they love the PSL Black Agenda Report, Workers World, Joe Sims, CPUSA phonies. They rigged the algorithms to promote one of their articles. If you don't think the deep state is supporting the synthetic left and doing everything it possibly can do to prevent a real anti-monopoly coalition, a real anti-war movement from emerging, there's the proof. There's the proof. There's the proof. And on top of that, while we're at it, right? If you don't think these people are lying sacks of shit, if you think that they're honest, you think that they just really believe this. Caleb, you have your beliefs, you really believe the stuff that you believe, and it looks like these people, they just believe their stuff, Caleb, they just have their beliefs, Caleb. Well, if that's the case, explain this to me. Do you really believe that Melinda Butterfield really went and interviewed Dan Cohen, interviewed Cynthia McKinney, interviewed Chris Hedges, interviewed Jimmy Dore, interviewed Garland Nixon, interviewed all these people, and based on his honest assessment, or her honest assessment, I apologize. Do you really think, if this is an honest opinion, do you really think that Melinda really believes this? Really believes that Cynthia McKinney is secretly in the Ku Klux Klan? That's what this says. That the purpose of the rally is to strengthen the grip of an openly fascist white supremacist movement. This article says that all the people who have supported this rally, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, all of them are secretly wearing KKK hoods. And they're secretly plotting to wipe out other races. That's what this says. Do you think that Melinda really believes this? Really believes that this rally is some kind of neo-Nazi conspiracy intended to strengthen the grip of an openly fascist white supremacist movement? Do you really think Melinda believes this? I don't. I know this person. They're not stupid. I knew this person. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They're not this stupid. They're not. They're just lying. This is their job. It's a gig. It's something they've been assigned to do by satanic evil forces. That's the case. That's the reality of the situation. We have to break with the synthetic left. We have to break with the synthetic left. Out of the movement to the masses. 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 There's that Lenin quote I always read to you all. That Lenin quote that I always read to you all. I'm going to see if I think I have a graphic of it I can pull up because it's so gosh darn important. It is so important. It is so important. And if I can just pull up a screenshot of it, maybe not, but let me see. I'm trying to dig through files here to see about where I have stuff. Do I have this Lenin quote? Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have the Lenin quote? I don't have the Lenin quote. What a shame. So I'm just going to have to read it to you all. I won't be able to put it on the screen, but I've read it to you all again. And I will read it to you once more. There's a really important essay by Vladimir Lenin, and it's about how, when World War I broke out, all these socialist groups that claimed to be so revolutionary supported World War I. It's called Imperialism and the Split in Socialism. It's 10 pages. It's not that long. You should read it. And at the very end of the essay, I've quoted it to you all a million times, but I will quote it for you once more. Lenin writes, "Neither we nor anyone else can calculate precisely what portion of the proletariat is following and will follow the social chauvinists and opportunists. This will be revealed only by the struggle, and it will definitely be decided only by the socialist revolution. But we know for certain that the defenders of the fatherland and imperialist war represent only a minority. And it is therefore our duty, if we wish to remain socialists, to go down lower and deeper to the real masses." This is the whole meaning and the whole purport of the struggle against opportunism. "By exposing the fact that the opportunists and social chauvinists are in reality betraying and selling the interests of the masses, that they are defending the temporary privileges of a minority of workers, that they are a vehicle for bourgeois idea and influences, and that they are really allies and agents of the bourgeoisie, we teach the masses to appreciate their true political interests and to fight for socialism and for the revolution through all the long and painful vicissitudes of imperialist wars and imperialist armistices. The only Marxist line in the world labor movement is to explain to the masses the inevitability and necessity of breaking with opportunism, to educate them for revolution by waging relentless struggle against opportunism, and to utilize the war to expose the utter vileness of national liberal labor politics. When the imperialists are starting a war, we show the masses. We use the war to show the masses who their friends and enemies are. And do you know why? And do you know why it is right now that the Democrats are more in favor of this war than the Republicans? Do you know why it is that this rally is being called fascist and Nazi by all the left forces that claim to be anti-war? It's a class difference. That's really what it really gets down to. It's a class difference. Because this war isn't going to be fought by Melinda Butterfield. This war isn't going to be fought by Melinda Butterfield's kids. This war is not going to be fought by Joe Lombardo. It's not going to be fought by Brian Becker. It's not going to be fought by Sarah Flounders. This war is going to be fought by working class people. It's going to be fought by black young men from Louisiana. It's going to be fought by Latino folks and Chicano brothers and sisters from New Mexico and Arizona. It's going to be fought by low-income white workers from Kansas and Pennsylvania. It's going to be fought by low-income folks who grew up in trailer parks in Alabama. Those folks want to actually stop this war. Among the military, anti-war sentiments are higher than ever. It's the working class that actually wants to stop this war. And this war, World War III, that is hanging over our heads, is being fought to defend the temporary privileges of rich kids in Williamsburg. It is being fought to defend the temporary privileges of gentrifiers in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's being fought to defend the temporary privileges of wealthy suburbs that surround Detroit. Grosse Pointe. It's being fought to defend the privileges, the temporary privileges of the laptop class. It's being fought to defend the temporary privileges of middle class, college educated, Ivy League pieces of shit. That's who it's being fought to defend. It is being fought to defend the temporary privileges of the cosmopolitan middle class, the laptop class, the people who've never had a relative go to prison, people who don't have a single relative in the U.S. Armed Forces. That's who it's being fought to protect. It's being fought. The escalation with Russia, the threat of a new war against China is being waged in defense of people from Beverly Hills. And they can pretend to be socialists all day long. They can pretend to be revolutionaries. They can put on Che Guevara hats. But when the rubber meets the road, they support the FBI. They support the Pentagon. They support tech censorship. They support silencing people. They support lockdowns. Because in their minds, they are more afraid of the rabble. They are more afraid of the rabble. They are more afraid of the black folks in Oakland. They're more afraid of the black folks in Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi. They are more afraid of the low-income white workers in Oklahoma. They're more afraid of the working people of Kansas and Montana than they are of world war. That's what they're afraid of. That is what they are afraid of. And they get woke points for claiming they care about black people. They get woke points for claiming they care about Chicano people, but they don't care about them. And they absolutely make no apologies about hating low-income white people. Yeah. Now it's all about how much they hate low-income white people. That's what it's all about, right? They hate low-income white people. They're very open about that. And they actually hate low-income black people. And they hate Chicano people too. They're just not as open about it. And the reason that they hate low-income black people, and they hate low-income Chicano people, and they hate low-income white people, is because they consider themselves to be superior. They went to NYU and Harvard and Yale, and they learned all the right woke buzz phrases. They learned how to be politically correct and talk about white gender privilege and mansplaining and intersectionality. And that's what it means to be a leftist. You go to a fancy, expensive university, run up all kinds of debt so you can turn your nose up and say, I am so much better than you. Oh my God, you're racist. You're racist. That's what you are. Oh, I'm so tired of your white man splaining. That's all it means to be a leftist. And most of those folks blatantly support arming the Nazis in Kiev. Most of those folks blatantly support a new war against China. Most of those folks are pretty clear about wanting to violently overthrow the government of Iran. And there's a small faction among them who pretend to be anti-imperialist. The PSL, Black Agenda Report, people like that. They pretend to be anti-imperialist, but they are way more afraid of the working class than they are of these wars. They would much rather have World War III than have the working class in motion. They hate the workers. They hate the workers. That's what they hate. They hate the working class. They are terrified of the working class. They hate the working class. Well, folks, there's an expression that I heard many years ago. That expression is, it's the only working class we've got. If you're a socialist, if you're a Marxist or a revolutionary, it's with the people. It's with the people. It's with the people that you must organize. Thank you, Gala. Writing it down. This rally is a great test, I think, as Gala is putting it, about who's really anti-war and who's not. And there are a lot of forces that pretend to be anti-war. And when in reality, they are not. They are not anti-war. They are not anti-war.